Hey, what's good, people? This is the Option Podcast. This is episode 205, maybe. That guy over there, he looks like Dain Blanton. Wow. That's Miranda. That's my tech. Dude, I cannot. It has been miserable since you left me. Don't ever leave me again. Buckle up, people. The episode starts right now. Bump, 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 bump. The champ is here. Bump, 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 bump. The champ is here. Ask, and you shall receive. Because for me, gotta give the people what they want. Gotta give the people what they want. 4-time AVP champion, Olympic gold medalist, NCAA champ as a player and coach, AVP. What? You're the only male player. In fact, let me do this over. He's the only male player to win an Olympic gold medal, an AVP crown, and an NCAA championship as a player and coach. No other male player holds that distinction. Dain Blanton.
I didn't know all those facts. You do your homework.
You're the only one, man.
All right.
Yep, you're the only one. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, last time you were on the show, it was episode 44. I timed it perfectly because our first black president was 44. First black Olympic gold medalist is 44. So the symbolic chronology worked out to perfection because that's what you're all about.
And now you're on episode
205,
wow.
maybe 206.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Dude, you
that's crazy.
I'm going to cry, dude. Because everyone's like, was it as easy as it looked? I'm going to be like, no, sir. So, 4-time champ. Congratulations, dude. Congratulations on this. Congratulations on Coach of the Year.
Thank you.
And I mentioned before the podcast something that you're not mindful of because you're in there working, that to be Coach of the Year for a team that's a 4-time champ, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, he had all the tools. Why would you give him Coach of the Year? He has all these players. And I'm like, no, there's something about being a part of a program that if you don't win the whole thing, it's a failed season. And a certain coach has to be able to be okay with that. And again, this is something I suspect you're oblivious to because at the time you're just working. You're not. Who the hell's in their job saying I'm going to be Coach of the Year? So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Congratulations.
Well, yeah, it's always nice to be appreciated and recognized by your peers, and but the individual awards, that's not what I'm after. I'm not after awards that usually are voted on. I want to win the award. You have to go out and actually win the award by playing on the court. Mm-hmm. And all the other stuff that comes with that. We had Gustavo Hocha, who got Assistant Coach of the Year last year. Sure, I got Coach of the Year. Megan Kraft got Player of the Year. But we look at all those as team awards. And Delaney Maple and Megan Kraft won Team of the Year the last 2 years in the Pac-12. So they're individual awards, but we look at them as a team award because if the team's not doing well, you're usually not winning those awards. And I'm not into winning those awards sometimes where they're like, oh, you won 10 last year and you won 15 this year, so you're Coach of the Year. I think that stuff's kind of BS. But like I said, whenever it's subjective, who knows what it's going to be. But I really appreciate it. But I'm after those NCAA trophies, and that's what our program's all about.
Yeah. Well, you're in uncharted territory, right? I mean, look, the NCAA as a sport is very young. It started in 2016 or something like that. So we really only have a small sample size of championships. But you're not going to find a lot of 4P champs, Dane, right? You got Russ Rose, right? Penn State. Megan Hodge was with him for a few years, and that's the only one in volleyball I can think of, except for maybe Skates, who was, I think when you have like 20-something championships, at some point there had to be a 4P.
Right. I think Skates has 19 national championships. So yeah, it's fun. The way we look at it is you go out there every year, a clean slate, and try to do your thing. I don't think you ever look at it in its totality to say I'm going to go out and win 4, 5, 6 championships. You go out there one year at a time, and that's a hard thing to get the player management, the personality management. It's probably the biggest thing in sports these days, because a lot of people have talent, but it's upstairs. It's what's above your shoulders that's winning us those championships. Like you say, maybe we get the players. I mean, you tell me one championship team that doesn't have great players, and recruiting players is one of the biggest facets of this game.
Well, we have a thing on the East Coast where if you see talented teams on a West Coast volleyball team, it's the players. You see a talented team in the Midwest, it's the coaches. You see a talented team in the East Coast, it's immigration population, which I guess is players equivalent. So,
Right.
So you're right. There is a certain percentage where a coach can only do so much. We'd mentioned John Mary before the podcast, right? He'd lost the year I thought he deserved Coach of the Year in 2021. He won 30 games. He beat UCLA and LSU the first 2 rounds, right? Had his brother as his assistant, no less. So, I thought some of the work Fuller got in that year, and Fuller was also deserving. But for me, I'm like, if there's a dispute, how they do head to head, right? Got to give it to John, right? So that would be a different situation.
You're going back to that award again, like that year you're talking about with John Mayer. The award is voted on before he goes and does that.
Yes, before the NCAA.
So what's the point?
Well, take away the NCAA championships. 131.
Why?
Won the WCCs.
No,
that's before the voting.
No, I'm just saying you can't take anything away. I think
just did. You just said the voting's before the NCAA, so you just eliminated
it is.
That. Yes.
That's the rules. I mean, that's what they do.
Right.
My point is all of those things should be voted on after the season is over.
Amen.
Amen. I mean,
where's your glass?
because like you said, John Mayer had a great year that year.
He really did.
But and did great at the NCAA championships, right?
Yeah. Which was icing.
But there's nothing you can't win because the voting for that is already done.
I know, but my point is,
doesn't make a lot of
the
sense.
cake was still good without the icing. Before the NCAA's even started, he won 31 games.
But that goes back to
and he'd
point
beaten the person head to head with less talent.
No, I get it, but that goes back to my point with the awards. It's like if it's not going to take it all in, then I think it would be nice that all those subjective awards are voted on after we've seen the performance.
How you feel about that? No, he's right.
What are you saying? Oof.
I would say
I just put her on the spot. That's
to wait and have it all.
Yeah, me too.
Together.
Eric Anderson just said, "I'm in a dentist chair right now, but say hi to Dain for me and tell him congrats and fight on."
Who's that?
Eric Anderson.
Oh, fight on.
Yeah, that's talk about menches, huh? You surround yourself with that dude's a mensch. Do you know what a mensch is, Dain?
Tell me.
A mensch, it's a Jewish thing. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard. I don't think I could tell you the exact
I'm not Jewish.
Definition.
I'm not Jewish, but nobody's perfect. All right. But in New York, a mensch is this person that, like, if you don't have a shirt and you're cold, and I only have my shirt, I take my shirt off and I give it to you.
Yeah.
I don't want anything in return. I just want you to be warm. That person that commands the highest respect because of how he treats people, regardless, absent of class structure.
Love that.
The same conversation with a billionaire is the same conversation he has with a guy sleeping on the street. So that's you're a mensch, and you surround yourself with menches.
There you go.
Again, guys, I just got the nose. I ain't Jewish. I'm Swedish, and actually, my mom's African American, so I'm far from Jewish. So. Yeah, let's get this stupid Coach of the Year thing out of the way, man. I think we've maximized this allotted amounts of finite time that we have with you to do that. So before I start talking both our ears off, I wanted to get a fan question in, and this is Aaron Wexler. Aaron Wexler says, how do you maximize the potential from your athletes, and how do you inspire and motivate them consistently? And I'd like to caveat on that question, because you were like, championships require talent and this and that, but it also requires a method where they can sustain that performance, that longevity, and I think that's where he's going to. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is getting players to want to master their craft, right? You get a lot of players that are out there trying to get wins and look at the score. Others are out there trying to master what they're doing. They're trying to pass that perfect ball, trying to set the ball, trying to get their feet in the right spot, get their hands in the right spot. And if you're constantly doing that, as you know, beach volleyball and volleyball for that matter is an imperfect game, and every single approach you take is very different. Every pass is very different. So you have to try to master it, but you're never going to master it. But you want that mindset where you're constantly trying to get better. I have players in the national championship in the final match that are working on technique. And that's where the focus is. And so that has been a huge component of the program getting to where it is today, and getting the athletes that want to really compete against one another. So they're when they leave our facility, they're battle tested and they're ready to go.
Yeah, I like the focus-based things that if you do that in practice, doing it in game feels like practice. And now, like you said, there's this level of sustainment, because I strongly believe that you're not navigating your emotionals sooner or later affects the physical, right? You're a Pepperdine wave, right? But big waves crash. Small waves go from peer to peer, right? So it's I find that very, very intriguing. And again, I worked with John Mayer for 2 years, and he does something similar. He actually goes into each drill with a particular whatever, and non-traditional season, which I wanted to cover. We spend whole weeks just this week is past week. This week is set week. Give me a focus. Hold. Right, holding my platform. That's going to be one, straight and simple. Right, straight platform, simple pass. One move to the ball. Right, unless it's like easy, then if you're like a midline coach and feel like you need to get in front of it, fine. Right. Different coaches, different strokes. And John's very, very good with that, and it's very, very, very interesting that you said that, because both of you guys find ways to win games, and I think there's one of the many formulas behind that.
Yeah, John's a great coach, and there's so many great coaches. That's the thing. Winning Coach of the Year is great, but like there's so many great coaches out there, and everyone's got their different challenges. Yeah. Every program's got their different goals and challenges and pressure and whatnot. But we've created something that has been very consistent and has been in the mix almost every year, which from the outside may look like it's an easy task, and that's okay.
Yeah.
If people see that and think it, and that's what usually people think when a program's having a lot of success. But there's some secrets to that success, and we have been able to put ourselves in a position to, like I said, win 4 championships, but we did them one at a time.
Yeah, you did. Freddie Jordan said, how do you get athletes to buy into mastering their craft? And I guess, no, you got to talk some. That's the question. Boom. I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah,
I was gonna answer that. I'm like, no, I have a guest who might be qualified.
But you could have a conversation, which I'm sure you do with yourself.
Yeah.
And interview yourself. But what was the question? How do you get players
how do you get athletes
to
buy into mastering their craft?
Well, because the way you do it is letting them know that you will achieve the results that you are striving for if you break it down and start to master your craft. You want to win. Everyone wants to win. You want to be successful. You want to be dominant. All that comes back to technical stuff and mastering and having the ability to do that on call when the situation presents itself. A lot of people, we're very big on the mental side of the game, and a lot of people are not able to perform when the lights are brightest. We've prepared our players to perform exactly when the lights are brightest, and that's why a couple of years ago, after the back-to-back wins in 21 and 22, we lost 12 athletes. 12. And
yeah, I was like, okay, 3-peat's good. That's a wrap, Dain.
No, that was 2.
That was year 2.
Year 2.
That was Tina. Yeah, and
right. Everyone said, we're rebuilding, and we lost 12 players, which we were rebuilding, but we built them right into the system that gave them belief. We had some players that played really well when it really counted, and it was nice. It's nice when you have that underdog role. Stein had it too, right? When he lost,
he had Savvy Sima was his lone senior that one year, and they still made the finals. They had lost you that year. I thought I thought that was some of Stein's best work. Jeff Alzina, his assistant, who I thought was kind of his secret sauce.
What year are you talking about? 18 or 19? Did they win?
The year that Jeff Alzina went to Santa Clara.
Okay.
He'd lost a lot of his sponsor. He'd already lost a lot of his seniors, and I think Savvy Sima was his lone senior. And he lost to you in the finals, but he made it to the final. My point is, he found a way
to get there.
Yeah. And I think he did take one from you, like a pair 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, that's what he's thinking. I'm like, dude, he's like, Tina could have her win. I just want to make sure, because what you were talking about, right? That's why we're dismissing this Coach of the Year thing, because of this team or Players of the Year, because it's a team concept, right? Tina could be like Nuss and Cloth could be undefeated the whole season, and you're not NCAA champs.
Right.
That's the genius of College Beach, you know?
And it's crazy, and you know, we keep going back on these individual awards. After 22, we lose 12 people, because everyone likes to throw in all of these caveats, right? We lost 12 people, but yet we won the championship. Is that a Coach of the year?
Yes.
See, I don't know.
No,
it's
sorry,
subjective.
rhetorical question. That's up to the audience. But I'm gonna say yeah.
But you see what I mean?
100%.
And everyone is fighting their own battle. That other coach that won 15 last year and now won 25 this year, it's a massive year. Right? We win a national championship, lose 12, yet win another national championship. That's a massive year. Getting 10 to 12 new athletes. But like I said, everyone kind of adds up their own rules to the subjective awards and says, oh, they should have won because of this or because of that. So therefore, once again, like I said, I love to fall back on the objective stuff that takes place on the court.
Yeah. Speaking of which, one of your players, Tina Graudina, small world scenario. Her godfather, Aldis Lucis of Latvia, is my volleyball mentor.
Wow.
So I had 2 volleyball mentors, Mario Tribic, who's at St. John's right now, but he coached USA Women's 84, assistant coach, Soviet Union men 88, and the Netherlands in 92. So and 96. So 3 silvers and a gold.
Wow.
So and he's this old Russian guy, and he's refereeing right now because his sons live in New York or whatever, and all of these kids, these juniors, like, oh my God, this guy's blind. He doesn't know what he's doing, and I'm just like. If he only knew. I didn't mean to drift away from it, but I just wanted to say, like, there's a connection, because Tina Graudina is one of the guys who taught me how to coach from the neck up. Her godfather, savage.
Yeah, and Tina was one of the most focused players that I've ever had the opportunity to work with, and she was about business, and that's why I think we clicked so much, because she's very intense. I was very intense as a player and as a coach, and try to be very consistent, and she's like a machine. And she had just incredible collegiate experience. And
I mean, as a freshman, I thought she came in as your best player as a freshman, dude.
Yeah, she
played
came
with Bustamante, right? Her
came,
freshman year played with Ava Bustamante.
Yeah, she came in, I think that 2018 it was, because she played 2018, 2019, took the 2020 year off to play in the Olympics, which got postponed.
Yeah.
And then she played in 21 and 22. And, I think you arguably you could say who's the best, and is it Sara Hughes? Is it Tina Graudina? Is it Megan Kraft? There's so many players that have gone on to do some fabulous things. It's something we're really proud of. I
think Kelly Cheng or Kelly Clays has had to be the elephant in the room, because Sara Hughes was the blonde and the one, with the big smile, and everyone was looking at to being the next Misty May. Yeah. And calmly and quietly and collectively, here you have this redhead savage. Yeah. I got this partner, no problem. I'll win with her. Betsy Flint, about time Betsy had a good partner. I'm her. Let's go. Yeah. Sarah Sponsor, you want to go to the Olympics? UCLA, USC, let's go. Yeah. And here she is again, back again. Yeah. The honeymoon's back on. Yeah. And I'm just gonna admit, not one of my most favorite players in the world, but there's no way you cannot respect her saying, you know.
Yeah, Kelly was great. I mean, I was in the box with Kelly and Sara when I was an assistant coach for Anna Collier in 2015, 2016, 2017, where we won three in a row.
Yep.
And Sara and Kelly will probably go down as the best pair to compete in collegiate beach volleyball ever, right? I mean, I believe they won 103 consecutive matches at one point. And it's funny because once they got out of school, turned pro, I knew they needed to go their separate ways and mature and develop apart. And I always said they would probably get back together, and here we are. They're world champions now, and they're headed to the Olympics. So I couldn't be more proud of them. And it was so great to get the opportunity to coach such humble and competitive, hardworking, all of that. They exemplify class out there, and it's so great that they're going to be representing the United States in Paris.
You know, John Moran was on my podcast, and he's a big Kelly and Sara fan. I'm a big Kristen and Taryn fan, and he thinks they're going to win. I think the other American team's going to win, and we made this deal. If they both wind up in the finals.
Who does he think's going to win?
Sara and Kelly.
And you think?
Taryn, Nola versus all y'all. that's how I'm going. Okay. Nola versus all y'all. Those two are no joke, you know. And we decided if they make the semis or the finals, we're gonna have a watch party here. Just awesome. Like get a bunch of mics. I'm only saying this because if you're probably going to be calling it, but if you're in the South Bay, come through. It'll be a 4-person watch party. John,
no, I'll be there. I'm doing the sideline reporting for NBC. So I'll be on the sand in Paris, and nice. So I'm really excited about that. This will be my third Olympics. I started it in 2016 in Rio, and Tokyo was the second. And now we're probably going to have really some of the greatest Olympics over the next 3 Olympics, because Paris is going to be spectacular, LA is going to be great, and Brisbane is in 32. So I'll miss the watch party, but I'll be right there. And let's hope it's both teams going at it in the final. That would be the dream.
That would be rich, wouldn't it?
But it is competitive out there. It's going to be a big challenge.
It's a rival.
Yeah.
Look, guys, for the people listening at home, there's my camera. It's not a rival of one team just keeps beating up the team over and over and over again, but that's not what's going on here. These two teams are beating each other consistently, right? You know, when it counts, Manhattan Beach, Sara and Kelly, Chicago, Taryn and Kristen, 3-time reigning defending champs, Chicago Open, right? If we remember Atlanta, qualifier, main draw, 1. Right, remember FIVB 4-star Australia qualifier main draw 1. You know, I mean these are, and I'm shaping my question because it kind of answered itself, but I want your input on how the NCAA has allowed a lot of these female beach volleyball athletes to keep their promise as far as putting out a competitive product that can compete, if not rule the world. Right, like for me when I first moved here. I'm like, dude, if you're doing an Instagram video of yourself working out, you're probably not working out. You know, I'm just like, what are you doing? Don't you have something better to do right now than be arguing with people on social media? Shouldn't you be training? Shouldn't you be eating right? Right? And then all of a sudden, there was this boom period of girls in 2018, 2019. They're like heavyweight champs. They come once every 4 years, right? 2019, you remember all those commitments, Natalie Muskowski, UCLA, remember, you know, this and that. But that year, 2019, was when the girls, because of the NCAA, 12 months out of the year got a gym, 12 months out of the year got a full-time coach. You know what I'm saying? 12 months out of the year focused on their academics. So they ain't got no time to do anything else except train.
So why are you saying 2019?
Because when it became an NCAA sport in 2016.
Correct.
But the boom period, because in 2016, Dain, people were still splitting time. Right? John Mayer, like, his pair 1 and pair 2 were on the indoor women's team. And
that's still, I mean, Texas was like that a year ago.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everyone starts like that, but there's no question about it that some schools jumped right in. USC, UCLA, Long Beach, Pepperdine, very early in 2013 and you had to get to 40 schools sponsoring the sport to submit an application for NCAA approval to be official, and that happened in 2016. So when 2016 came around, it was what would that have been, the junior year for Sara and Kelly, because they went undefeated in the last AVCA championship, which was 2015.
Yep.
It was very important for them to win the first national championship for NCAA in 2016, and then they were able to repeat in 2017. So they were, you knew, okay, there's going to be this influx of women coming from college, that now the weekend warrior type women's pro that played in the summers days were numbered. And it was only a matter of time before they got squeezed out, because you had these players coming up that had formal training from a very young age, and there was no way that you're going to keep up with them, because they were just too talented, too skilled, too many hours coaching. And it's fun to see, like, every great player now that's on the tour in the United States played college volleyball.
Yes. And I think that
Beach college volleyball.
I'm glad that you polished that up for me, because that was the point I was trying to make, and I was very sloppy with that, but you kept it neat and clean for Eugene. I'll give you an example, like 2019, Hermosa Beach Open. You have Chrissy Jones and Zana Muna as a 43 seed in the qualifier, make it to the semifinals. You have Maple and Kraft, I think we're 15 and 17 years old, made it to the quarterfinals. You had the Norris twins, right, who were 18 years old. You had, and I can go on. And Betsy and Emily Day, they were like, okay, we ain't having it. They won the whole thing, and they're like, calm down, little girls. But you had teams in the draw.
It wasn't calm down. It was let us get this while we can. This is the last go round here.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's where my disappointment and happiness came from. Before I got into this volleyball thing, I was a 19-year coach for indoor. Mm-hmm. I was with the Stack family of Baruch. I was at City College building programs from the ground up. Teaching kids in Harlem how to hit middle. Mm-hmm. So, which is an assignment on its own. So when I came here, I knew the difference between two teams feeling each other out before the technical time or the whole set, or getting after it from play one. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see, my eye test says they're not getting after it. And people walking by on the beach, they're going to look at it for like 5 minutes and they're just going to move on, because they don't see people getting after it. Mm-hmm. And that's the distinction between what we're talking about. These girls, I don't know if they're just spending time in the video room, or if they're just spending time, my side of the net's going to be your side of the net. Boom, let's go after it now. I'm not going to see what you're going to do. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, and then you react to me. So I wanted you, who's on the collegiate scene at this level on the beach, I do some fun things, but this is a standalone. You're not in a class. You're not a level higher than me. You're literally in a class by yourself. You're a 4-time champ. So I wanted your input on. Do you see that distinction between people getting after it from play one and a feeling out, this kind of feeling out process as someone so maybe someone's in the draws in the qualifier, you've never seen them, you want to see you want to watch them warm up and this and that. So talk to me a little bit about that if you get where I'm getting at. Or we could just skip it. You don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
No, I mean, there's no casual play. Right. This is the players.
RDSCU.
They're out for blood, who are out there. They're committed. This is their livelihood. They're going after it. Anytime you play someone who's professional, and they make a living doing what they do, you better be prepared, right? There's no half-stepping in women's beach volleyball anymore. There's no like, hey, I play in the summers. Either you're in or you're out. I mean, you can be a qualifier player, but if you want to be a top player, like you said, these players are all in. They got formal training early on. Their knowledge of the game is so high. And you say, is it the mental side? Is it the physical side? Are they watching tape? They're doing all of it. A lot of times some of these players know your tendencies better than you do.
Yes.
And if that's the case, you don't have a shot.
This man just said, where's my camera? This man just said, ain't no half stepping. I just had a Big Daddy Kane flashback. I can't believe, come on, you know that he just said, ain't no half stepping. That means, and growing up, he listened to Kane. This man listened to Big Daddy Kane. All right. Art Barron says, Dain, it's great to see you and your continuous success on and off the court. Stay blessed. That's Artie Barron. He goes the wrong way. That's a.
Well, I appreciate that because, I am so blessed, and I honestly think I have the best job in volleyball.
Yeah.
I have a blast training, working with the players that we get, recruiting the players, working with Gustavo Hocha, our assistant coach, and Emily Hansen, and it's such a fun environment. It's a team environment, and we kind of all put our skills together to collaborate. And I've had some special players I've been able to coach with Sarah and Kelly, with Tina Graudina, with Megan Kraft, Delaney Maple, with the Norse twins. I mean, you go on and on. There's so many great players, and it's such an amazing university. So many people just know it from, the outside, but the support and it allows me to do what I love to do. And the support is tremendous as well. Jen Cohen's the athletic director, and President Folt of the entire university are huge beach volleyball fans.
Oh, that's great.
And it's just a fun environment. You know how it is when you work with people that are pushing you and making you better, and you're having fun doing it. I mean, what could be better?
Well, USC, they love nerds. They love volleyball nerds, like Todd Hollenbeck, who's at Menlo right now. He was Jeff Nygaard's assistant at USC for a couple of years. And he's someone I call a real one. Before that, Santa Cruz, which is Division III, he won AVCA Coach of the Year there. So he put in, massive work and doing good things. For the podcast, when this came out, Alexa Strange immediately picked up the phone, said yes. Lucas Yoder, Fallon Funo Moana spoke up on some social issues where a lot of people, didn't want to, knew that they had fans on both sides of the argument and didn't want to say anything, but she was very outspoken. So, and all of these people are Trojans, so it says a lot. So, but
Alexa Strange was fun to coach,
wasn't she?
Yeah, she.
And you want to talk about someone that was good for the sport?
And she just had a baby.
I heard
believe,
that.
Right?
You told me that, right, Miranda?
I haven't seen her in a while, but tell her I said hi. I think you'll see her before me.
No, I haven't seen her. When was the last time you saw Alexa?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute, yo.
She's happy living her.
But you want to talk about someone that was good for the sport, someone who's animated, someone who was fan friendly. She'll hear like a Michael Jackson song and start dancing and like during the technical timeout, and you're just like, let's let her do her thing.
She was awesome.
So Brian McDermott, from Progression Beach Volleyball, which by the way is an indoor beach facility in Chicago.
Nice. Love Chicago.
Yeah, and you'll love it. If you ever met him, he's 100% about juniors. If it's not about juniors, he doesn't care. Hey, how about the Yankees? I don't care. Right. Transgender athletes, who cares? Are they in my club? No, then I don't want to talk. What else do you want to know? Do you want to talk about this, Jason? So he's been on my podcast and the most no nonsense.
So what's his question?
His question, speaking of no nonsense, how do you keep the peace and maintain the happiness of the athletes that may not have the role they hoped for when joining the program?
That's a fabulous question, and that is it's a very delicate juggle of your top players that may be starting. Then you have that mid group that is knocking on the door to get into that top 5 pairs. And then you have some players that are kind of working their way up in that development. So everybody wants instant success. And so you first have to kind of slow everyone down, look at the reality, and then we try to run a really fair program where I'm going to put you out on the court if you have the work ethic, the talent, the results, the ability, and the maturity to get the job done. I don't care if you're a freshman. I don't care if you're a senior. We don't play favorites. We play who's ready to go. And I think young athletes coming up appreciate that and want to play for a program that is going to, if they put in the work, it's going to reward them.
What are some things you feel most freshmen are surprised by or should know about when they're beginning their college experience?
I think the biggest thing is really putting your head down and working and improving some of your areas of weakness and expanding upon some of your areas of strength. But, we always talk about mileage. Do you have enough mileage, that volleyball IQ, that experience? The only way you get it is by competing and playing and time. It's you can't cheat mileage, right? You can't cheat mileage. So just being patient and getting those hours under your belt of training, and that is a process that everyone has to go through, some faster than others.
I guess loaded question. What does being coachable mean? When you hear a coach say be coachable,
well, that's easy. That's easy.
Go ahead.
Being coachable is being able to take feedback, to take instruction, and then apply it to your game immediately. Those that you have a month later and you're telling them the same thing, 2 months later you're telling them the same thing, those are the players that are not coachable. If I have the same problems that I had with you 4 months ago, we haven't made much progress.
No.
Right? So that ability, one player comes to mind that was extremely coachable, and that was Tina Graudina. I could tell Tina to change this on the next play, and she would change it, and then
like a machine.
And then she'd run over and she said, "Did I do it?"
And you're like, you did.
Well,
doesn't hurt to ask though.
But it did. I mean, that was the coachability, that ability to come back and communicate and say, "Hey, give me more feedback. Did I do it?" So she wasn't like, "Haha, I did it." She was like, "Did I do it correctly? What more can I do?" And wanting to learn. And so some players are harder to crack and harder to get to adjust something they may be doing their whole life, right? They may be passing the ball a certain way their whole life or blocking a certain way. But if they have that ability to get uncomfortable and change, because whatever you tell them is going to be weird. It's going to be uncomfortable.
It is.
It's going to be something different than they were doing. Otherwise, it would be like, you're good and you don't need to work on this. And so when you see a player like a Tina Graudina, who was great from the get-go, you start to realize
a freshman,
you start to realize why she was great, because she was about results, about technique, about doing things correctly, and could, and I'm just using her as an example. I've had many players like her, but she sticks out in a sense where it was immediate. She took that feedback immediately.
Dude, you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of positive reinforcement when it comes to Eastern European players, okay? We bring your children up in the traditional manner by making them learn Latin and beating them half to death in a single-sex environment. So I'll go actually.
Can I disconnect from that? Did I put a disclaimer that I had no part in that?
No, we'll time. Where are we with time right now? We could just edit that part out. No, but look,
we're at 1:40.
there's a different discipline, and there's a different ways to handle disappointment there. I've been there, I've trained there, and I've known people who have kids that grew up there. Right, I was in Germany for 2.5 years, in Darmstadt, Frankfurt, and Darmstadt. I was also in the United States Army, so I know there's more than one way to skin a cat in that regard. And I don't think any championship team exists exclusively on one or the other. I don't think someone like you is going to live in that false dichotomy and expect to be a 4P champ. So I'll do one better on being coachable, believe it or not. Giving up control. I have telling the player to give up control. You said, Mark, and I listened to the whole thing on Mark Bureau's podcast. That was fantastic, by the way. And the one through line I got from that whole podcast is they don't rise to the occasion. They fall back to the level of training. And if that's your quote, I'm going to quote you. And if you borrowed that, you better tell me who the hell said that.
Yeah,
because
that's a borrowed quote. That's that's an old, I think, like a Navy SEALs quote.
Yeah, and I for my indoor fans, because I have all kinds of people watching this, You're playing juniors. How many times has the game been 23 up? Your outside hitter hits middle of the court and not sharp, not looking for an open, just hits as hard as she can middle of the court. And one of these four things happen: hits the tape, gets blocked by the middle, gets dug by the girl playing position 6, or goes long. One of those four things, where's my camera? One of those four things as a club coach, I promise you, that has happened to your player when tensions are high and butt cheeks get tight, right? It's because she reverted to something that she's comfortable with. And one of my definitions to be coachable is through process and technique. Please allow her, the physical part first, allow her to get into this comfort thing. And from the neck up, I'm going to quote Chael Sonnen when Chael Sonnen said this. They tell you that losing is not an option. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Losing is an option. Losing is the most readily available option all the time. And the two things you want to let your players know, and when that moment comes, one, the other team's feeling it too, and two, it's normal. It's not don't treat it like this unnatural feeling. And when you tell a kid that and they look across the net, there's a little bit of an exhale, and all of a sudden they don't rise to the occasion and they fall back to their level of training. And I just thought that was a brilliant line. That was a great podcast, by the way, because you and I, we don't have a lot of time to listen to whole episodes. I listened to that whole episode. That was dude, Mark's a New York guy, so I'm loyal, but wow, that was gnarly. That was awesome.
Nice.
Jeff Samuels, hey boys, coming in hot. Brian McDermott says, thanks. LOL, hello.
Nice.
Let's go lightning rounds. Question number 1. We have 60 seconds.
Oh my gosh, what's the lightning round?
Lightning round. Question number 1. Miranda, go.
All right. For the long one. We want to do the short ones.
No, do the long one first.
Okay. This one's a two-parter. From 2000 to 2001, there was a slew of rules that were changed for both beach and indoor scene, from rally to let serves to sand, short court, to the introduction of libero,
Yeah.
which we cannot agree on.
Which 20 years later, we can't even agree on the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Libero. Go ahead.
What rule do you miss from the older rules, and which one do you wish was never changed?
So, Dain, you pick one of those. I'm going to pick the other one. So what? So you take one of those assignments, 60 seconds. I'll take the other one.
Well, I'll take the one that I wish was never implemented was the let serve.
Go ahead. 60 seconds.
The let serve is, I get they wanted the game to move quicker, but I'm not a big fan of it. Not a big fan of matches ending on let serves. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And I don't think it speeds up the game that much. I think if we had let serves and if you clip the top of the net and reserved, it would be fine, just like it is in tennis. I just think that the ball hitting the net creates chance, and it's not skill to be able to hit that, although a lot of people try to go for very close to the net. And then also, that brings into play net tension. And if you're playing on a weak tension net, you're more apt to get a trickle serve. And so I would say the let serve we could do without.
Nice. 16 seconds to spare. You're the man, Dain. Look at that clock. So the other part of the question I'm supposed to tackle is what rule I'm glad is gone? Mm-hmm. All right. The rule that I'm glad is gone. For beach, I would say I'm glad the big court's gone. I actually like the short court. I like that I don't know what kind of scientific study they had about a ping pong ball, if it's faster in this small environment, right? Don't you love when they use these examples for other sport and say that it automatically applies to volleyball because everyone else is too lazy to do an actual study on volleyball. Right. But I do like the short court because at the end of the day, people are still shooting and they're still going in. Yeah. People are still serving jump serves and they're still going in, except unless you don't know how to serve a Mikasa, right? Yeah. That thing luff balloons out. So as far as like things that I'm glad that I regret, I really, really hate the indoor like serve receive with your hands, fingertip serve receive. You know, because at the highest level, it didn't affect them. They're going to receive with their forearms anyway. So it really affected people, the way people can level up. And I really didn't like that. But make mine short court all day long and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, I like that. And you know what? All these rules, you're trying to innovate always, and you know, like basketball implemented a 3-point line where there wasn't one back in the day. They're all, I think, with good intentions. I don't think they've all been done with a thorough study. And every time they say we're testing this, I remember them testing the let serve in 2000, and then it became law very quickly. And then the short serve, but no matter what, it's going to be volleyball at the end of the day. Players adapted to the short court. Everyone said the shorter player would be obsolete because you couldn't jump serve as effectively, but we adapted. Everybody, good jump servers, continue to be good jump servers if they put in the time and dealt with it with the short court. But I'm all for trying to tweak rules, make the sport better, make the sport more attractive. But I agree with you. The short court, the court was huge, and Eric and I played on the last court that ever existed in big court, and that was in the 2000 Olympics in the finals. And it's fun. You adapt, but at the end of the day, it's volleyball, so the players are going to get it done.
I think so. And I would also, I guess here's my question before I add my own caveat. When Let's Serve happened, didn't Rally happen at the same time? Because if the answer to that is yes, I'm okay with that because they offset each other a little bit.
No, well, Let's Serve happened in 2000. We were playing Let's Serve in the Olympics in Sydney, Australia in 2000. Right. The Rally score kicked in 2001.
Right.
So it was a lot of different. You know, you had the Let's Serve, you had the shrinking of the court, you had the Rally score. Like there was a lot of movement right there in 2000, 2001.
Like I had less of a problem if Rally and Let Serve are together, right? Because you don't want to, like, if it's side out, you're just going to swing away because you're if you're a side out machine, you're just going to take your chances at the service line. For all of you guys in the Pottstown Rumble that are doing the old school rules, all of the champions, the first thing they will tell you is service king. They save all of their energy at the service line. You know, grass court, the net's already set up lower than anyway. You don't have to operate at anything more than 80%. So, but if you know you're going to lose a point hitting the top of the tape, you're like, oh, this is going to suck. I'm going to lose a point too. So there was at least an offsetting when Rally happened with that. So I'm still with you, but I have less of a problem when Rally came along with that. Because for indoor, it all happened the same year. The libero, this fingertip double hits, Rally, and Let's Serve. 4 rule changes all in the same year. Yeah. By the way, and I didn't know because that was my first year as an NCAA coach. Yeah. That's my debut as a coach, and I had to deal with all these rule changes. I was Chi's assistant, Patricia. God rest her soul. She passed away. Weird year for passing away, right? Rick Amon, Chi, just like all of our old friends are just, wow. But anyway, that was my first year as an NCAA coach and had to deal with that. I'm like, geez, thanks a lot, guys. I'm a kid from Brooklyn.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Let's do lightning round question number 2. And I think this is one, I just give him the 60 seconds. I don't need to answer this.
All right.
Go for it.
I might answer. I'll tail off and go ahead.
All right.
So 1-line question. Go ahead.
What rule in volleyball should be worth 2 points?
We could split the time on this one.
Worth 2 points?
Yeah. What should be worth 2 points?
I think a clean ace.
Nice.
That the ball, no one touches it, right? Like, of course, you can ace someone, they shank the ball, but a clean ace, I've never thought of this before, never been asked that question, but now that I'm thinking of it, I think that rule, if a clean ace was worth 2 points, you would create better passers. You would create a sense of urgency that doesn't exist right now. And, I do that sometimes in some drills that I do. I will make something worth more, and that will push the athlete to try to score 2 points.
Yeah. Oh, bonus.
Yeah, because they're going to get more points, so they're going to try that more. Maybe they're going to try the option like the name of your podcast,
Yep.
The Option. And
Which is a bonus system for
Yeah.
John Mayer's, some of his drills.
There you go.
Anything on any back set options.
Yeah.
No, back set sometimes in
Yeah.
some drills, bonus.
whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But if it were 2 points for a clean ace, I think it would actually create better passers because there would be this urgency to never let the ball hit the sand.
No doubt. Mine was clean block. Uncoverable block, because all the same reasoning and logistics and discipline apply to that, right? You cover all the time,
Yeah.
right? Like, let's say there's a ball passed out of system. Someone dives to put the ball back in system. How many times you still see that person on the ground, right? And they're watching the set instead of getting their ass up and covering, right? So, and everybody's like, you should be happy I brought back the ball. I'm like, yeah, if I'm 50 and we're playing pickup ball on the weekends, yes. No, you're an elite athlete. You dived. Thank you for the lemons to lemonade. Now get up and cover me because you did a compete set.
Yeah.
And if you're going to compete set, you have to be the first one at the scene of the crime. So
that would make everyone better at covering.
Yes,
that's for sure.
No, but the ace thing is golden because now you're going to have people following the ball to the line like you want your passers to. Like your passer thinks it's out, but what if they're wrong? How about you just go there? How about you feel your foot on the line and then stop and do all that. So,
and you'd have people just laying it out to get a finger on the ball just to save a point. Right?
That wasn't two.
I
you heard
got
him yelling
it.
at you. That wasn't two, Dane. That was one. That wasn't two.
Yeah. So that would be cool.
Let's go lightning round question number 3.
All right. 3 venues that the AVP should bring back.
Oh my goodness, should bring back.
Let's go 60
maybe
seconds. We'll split it.
Grand Haven, Michigan.
Nice.
Was pretty amazing. I'm going to give you more than 3. Milwaukee used to be
Bradford Beach.
a big one because Miller Lite was the sponsor of the AVP back then. It'd be nice to go to Fort Lauderdale. That would be nice if they were on there. New York, without question. If we could play on the pier in New York.
Come on.
Just
show them. Show them.
The best. And it would be cool if we never really had, I think they had a Goodwill Games in Central Park, but it would be really cool to have a professional event in Central Park. Yep. Santa Cruz was amazing. That used to be a Jose Cuervo, part of the Triple Crown. Yeah. Boulder, Colorado. It used to be Clearwater, Boulder, Colorado, and Santa Cruz was the Triple Crown for the Jose Cuervo. And Clearwater was amazing. Clearwater was
Florida?
amazing. So
Is that Florida?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I've been around for some time, and
but you just gave us some gems.
Man.
Nobody thinks of Santa Cruz, and Santa Cruz is awesome. It's fantastic volleyball. Haven, Clearwater's good. New York City, the immigration population alone, man. You look. Come on, dude.
And we should be down in San Diego too.
Yes.
San Diego is solid. We used to play in downtown San Francisco.
Yeah.
My first pro event in 1994 in San Francisco, right in Embarcadero Center. And it was so cool because it was a Friday, so everybody from the offices came to watch. So there's all these suits in the crowd in the middle of the city. It was so unique. I love unique settings, and that was definitely one of them.
I did the last San Francisco champ, Rafa Rodriguez. I didn't make the trip, but I was his coach, for his analytics coach. So I did all the numbers and this and that for every possible scenario, and he won. He won with Ratledge. So another one of my proud moments.
And then internationally,
please,
Klagenfurt.
Yes,
Klagenfurt, Austria, hands down by.
How about The Hague?
By 10 clicks, Klagenfurt over any international event. Hannes Jagerhofer was the promoter who created Klagenfurt, and I'm sure you've heard of it. It became just one of the best sporting events in the world, and it's a bummer we don't go back there. But anyways, you took me down memory lane, and there's some amazing venues and events that we've been able to play in over the years.
Jeff, you can come in. Jeff, you can open the door. You come in. Come on in. Sorry, we got a little guest.
What's up,
guest saying
Jeff?
hi in the house.
How are you, man?
Good. How about you?
Good to see you. Oh man, I appreciate it. It's been wild. We're trying to Break it all down.
Aaron Wexler, all you get is one question, man. Come on, man.
What's he got?
He's like, how do you create a consistent culture of excellence? I think we've covered that in 3 different ways, but if give him,
you recruit great character athletes. You know, athletes that want to battle, that want to work together, and that show humility and resilience, and they want to get great. You know, and you don't want players that just want to be average. You want players that want to be great, and that goes on usually all facets. It's funny because we try to recruit really great athletes, but in turn, most of them are great students as well. And two semesters ago, we broke the record for highest GPA of any team sport since they've been recording team GPA at USC, and so that's cool. You know what I mean?
And isn't that great that volleyball just killing it, like top 2?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, team GPA.
Yeah.
I coached at City Tech. Men's volleyball was second to tennis.
Mm-hmm.
I coached with the Stack family at Baruch, men 4 years, and men were men's team GPA was all 4 years first.
Nice.
I coached at City College, and they were second to men's tennis. There was something about men's
important.
tennis that was beat us out.
It's important, and I mean, the student athletes have so much to do, and it's hard being a student athlete with the classroom stuff, the practicing, 4 hours a day in terms of strength and conditioning with volleyball, and sometimes they're getting rehab and taking care of business, but they're machines, and it's hard to be a student athlete. I think anybody who's ever been a student athlete knows that. But as the stakes rise at bigger programs, the pressure can rise too, and they seem to handle it really well.
Yeah. For me, to answer that question, how do you create a culture of excellence, is everything you just said. I'm a disciplinarian. Please show up on time. Respect other people's time, right? If you're late, I kind of get that, but don't disrespect the people who could have been late but found an effort to come on time. So I'm really, really big on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. April 15th, 2024. Everyone remembers that day because that was the only time in my life I've ever been late.
Mm-hmm.
Jo calls me out, and you were late that day, and I'm like, dude, we remember the date. That's how rare that is. It's so rare you remember the day.
That's impressive.
And the only reason why I was late is because they were 15 minutes late for the meetup time, causing me to be 15 minutes late to get to the site. So when you did I did the military timing in my head, it was exactly to the minute.
Yeah.
So being on time, respecting people's time. Please, coaches, please have your lesson plan and your game plan to the time, and always put in more on that plan or your calendar than what the 2 hours require, because your kids might have an accelerated growth and that might be ahead of schedule, and you might want to throw in something at the end, because if you're there, you keep them engaged. And some of these girls are so sharp. If they see you go it creates a culture of casualness. And my unofficial contract I had while I was coaching 16s, I had serious fun. We call it an unofficial handshake contract. You can have fun, you can tell jokes, but when it's time to get serious, lock in. And it's weird because it doesn't work for every year. Mm-hmm. Like the year before it didn't work so much, and that was my responsibility. I allowed that to happen, and
right.
I got to take that L.
Yeah.
But this year with the 16s, with LAVBC, it was fantastic.
Nice.
And Jail's daughter is one of the best 16-year-olds I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about, like, everyone knows who the ball going to. Right, with a setter who's iffy, so now you got double, and she's still getting kills.
Yeah.
That's that Jordan stuff, right?
Yeah.
17 seconds left. He's gonna take the shot, and he gets the shot anyway. He'll occasionally give it to Kerr, but that's what's up. So let's finish, because we got to stop in 6 minutes.
We got more questions.
I got 60-second lightning round. Quick question, you and me.
Yeah, those lightning round, I don't know about. We did 3.
These are
the super quick, the one answer.
These are,
I know,
yes.
the what is it? My favorite food, or
nope.
What movies, or
something like that.
Let's do it.
Right.
Let's just 60 seconds
instead of questions.
No, we can.
Okay.
We can ride this until you gotta leave. I don't.
All right.
Go ahead.
You guys
go for
ready?
it. You got your
Start
clock?
off.
Sure.
Favorite comedian?
Chappelle.
I
mean, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Last good book you read?
I'll go Hate Inc. It's right there. Matt Taibbi. Hate Inc. Hate Incorporated.
Is this a two-way
Yep.
lightning round?
Yes.
You guys
So I have
just
to
throw
do
it
the
out.
book too, or
No.
just okay? Go ahead.
If
No.
you can think of a last good book you read.
Oh,
Or
you know,
past.
I just reread something called The New Toughness Training in Sports. It was a reread by James Lohr. It's a sports psych book.
Nice. Cool.
Last good movie you watched.
Sound of Freedom.
Oh man,
It's made the world aware. Who has time? Dana got
I
time.
don't know,
That's
like
a good.
Mario
You go
Brothers
past
with my
on that.
6-year-old.
There you go.
There you go.
Paw Patrol.
Yeah, exactly.
Commentating or coaching?
Ooh,
That's tough. I'd say coaching.
Coaching. Is that weird? Because I
Yeah.
like to talk. Is that?
Because I always
Co-
say, you
Yeah.
want to be in the arena, you want to be the player. Next best thing is coaching,
Right.
And then being around and reporting other people's stories, I think, would be after that.
Yeah, I like coaching.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel all day.
Marvel.
Avengers, X-Men, go.
Pool or beach?
I live in Hermosa Beach now. It's beach.
Oh, beach. Yeah.
Yeah, New York's a dump.
Ice cream or cupcakes?
Ice cream.
Cupcakes. Mother.
Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
Lord of the Rings. I dare you. Not kidding.
Neither.
There you go.
Neither.
Okay. Bourbon, vodka, or tequila?
Bourbon.
Vodka.
Favorite sport outside of volleyball?
Basketball.
Mixed martial arts.
Favorite action film star growing up?
Bruce Willis. Or Arnold. I'll go Bruce. I like Bruce. For
Spider-
romantic reasons, I like Bruce. I'll tell you in a minute why.
Who?
Bruce Willis.
What was your question? I thought it was an action hero.
Action film star.
Yeah,
Oh, an action film star. Got
Yeah.
it. Schwarzenegger.
there it is. Favorite conspiracy rabbit holes? The JFK assassination. I don't think Oswald made the shot. Fine.
All right, I'm with you.
Yeah. I'm ex-military. Look at that badge behind you. You see that badge behind you, Dane? It says expert, okay? I'm an expert in the M16 and the Beretta, and that dude did not make that shot. We need Ty Loomis for this episode, not Dain Blanton. I have my own personal question I wanted to ask you.
Go for it.
What does your preseason look like?
Preseason?
yeah, like-
we start usually 2
Like,
weeks.
or
in-
non-traditional season, sorry.
2 weeks into school. So school starts late August. We start playing in September. We usually start in what's called an 8-hour segment where you can only practice or work out for 8 hours. It's 4 hours of training, 4 hours of practice per week. That's
Right.
what an 8-hour segment. We almost go a month of that until October. And then we get into what's called the 20-hour segment or a championship type segment. That's when you're full go. You're able to practice 2-3 hours a day. You're in the gym an hour a day, and usually for freshmen that's a big jump because they've never played this much volleyball and at this intensity. And do some tournaments in October, and then late November, right before or right at Thanksgiving, we break. They have finals and they go right into Christmas break. So that's a tough time where there's some time off there, right? There's almost a month off. And they need to maintain or get stronger during that time so that they come back in January ready to go. And then late February, the season actually kicks off. So that's kind of the chronology of it.
So most of like the literal lifting when the kids left, does that happen like between after
Are you talking like
non-traditional and before seasoning?
Strength and conditioning
Yeah.
stuff. It's happening throughout, and you want to gain strength. There's certain maintenance phases. There's certain times when we're pushing a little harder than others. And, we had, knock on wood, we had we have a strength and conditioning coach. Her name is Madison Peel, and she's just gets the players ready to go. We were very healthy this year, which is always a challenge when you have about 20 student athletes. And, if you're not on the court, you can't do anything. And so being healthy, being strong, and I think each year we learn a little bit more, we get even stronger, and hopefully we can continue to widen the gap.
Yeah, and I like what you said about being healthier in the year because there's a lot of sports like elite athletes. For a lot of my people who are theater performance people who are just getting to know this Olympic gold medalist, there's very, very few sports where athletes come into their competitive event 100%. healthy, right?
Right.
My favorite sport, or one of my favorite sports, mixed martial arts, 100% healthy doesn't exist.
Right.
They're always coming in with something, right? Volleyball, there's always something where you're a little bit sore, maybe there's some nagging, what we call nagging injuries, or whatever.
Or your
This and
arm
that,
sore,
basketball,
yeah. You're always you walk that fine line constantly, and that's how you're getting. You want to be gaining strength, but you don't want to be broken down to where you're in that injury area. So,
what was it like being roommates with Vern?
Greg Vernovich? It was awesome.
Greg Schenkel asked me to ask you that. Greg and I, we walk our kids to school every morning.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
And talk about a mensch. Talk about a nice guy.
Schenkel was an amazing guy, and we actually shared an apartment, Schenkel, at Pepperdine, and just what a great guy, what a nice guy, and Greg Vernovich, one of my best friends. He lives in Atlanta now, and just a hard worker. I brought Greg as my coach in 2000 in the 2000 Olympics, so he came down as Eric and I's coach, and gave us some really invaluable coaching that allowed us to be prepared and ready to win the gold medal in 2000. So he actually drove down to Gulf Shores from Atlanta to be a part of the championships, which are 10 days old now, and there's nothing like being there. And we're gonna miss Gulf Shores. Gulf Shores been great. As a head coach, I'm 17-0 in Gulf Shores, and now the championship is moving to Huntington Beach. What we'll miss is the beautiful, that turquoise water and the white sand, and
the bar and restaurant. I understand was really good too.
Yeah, the hangout and the Phoenix All Suites hotel that we always stayed in, and of course the Pink Pony, which is the dive bar that's right on the beach. But they were just fabulous hosts, and they created this championship that has hit a certain level, and now it'll move to Southern California, which will be awesome. They're going to have a lot to live up to down in Huntington Beach to put it on. But the cool thing is the access will be much easier for most fans. It's very difficult to get to Gulf Shores because there's no direct flight. You either have to fly through Houston or Dallas, fly into Mobile or Pensacola, and then drive in. Now we're not going to have to get on a plane, and the majority of teams are not going to have to get on a plane. They're going to be able to drive here, and then that goes for all the clubs, and all the volleyball fans in Southern California are going to be able to just drive right down. And so I'm expecting a much larger event here in Southern Cal
that can accommodate it.
Yeah, and
that can accommodate.
It's going to be
that can accommodate.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing though. There's no better format in beach volleyball right now than the collegiate game. Having the 5 teams, having the duel, having the number 5 team being just as important as the number 1 team. You score 1 point with each of them, and it's just crazy. You're on one court, and then the momentum swings, and it all goes to another court, and the whole crowd runs to that court, and there's nothing more compelling. It's much more compelling than a straight bracket. And now that it's single elimination, it's 16 teams, the pressure's on, and there's nothing like it. There's just nothing like it.
It's ridiculous.
So I think the pro ranks want to somewhat mimic some sort of team concept.
They're doing that now.
I think that's what the AVP plans to do. And I don't know exactly how it'll be done perfectly, but I think getting that team concept is something that may attract more attention to the sport.
No doubt. In Huntington Beach, let me tell you something. One of my favorite matches at Huntington Beach, you had people standing on the pier, you had people under the pier, you had people surrounding the court, and it's Rafa Rodriguez and it's Kevin McCulloch against Reed Pretty and Kame Schulk in a round 2 qualifier match.
Yeah.
This is a round 2 qualifier match.
Yeah.
And there's something really cool about like the camera shot, the people standing on the pier watching, and the people trying to get shade under the pier.
Right.
And the umbrellas around it that had this main draw, almost like an NVL, like a small type final setup.
Right, yeah.
And they can definitely, and the facilities, and like you said, the accessibility, Huntington Beach is so at this point it's imperative, if not,
it's going to be awesome.
Super necessary. What does Marv Dunphy mean to you?
Oh, Marv's the best. He's my mentor, and he's always there if you need him. He really taught me most of the stuff that I use and implement now as a coach, because seeing him as an example was amazing. I'm sure John Mayer will tell you a similar story. But what comes to mind with Marv Dunphy is not only his knowledge and how in depth he can get on a subject, but his consistency. Marv was never a guy, he was never going to yell at you. You just knew when he was disappointed. He wasn't a lot of ups and downs. Marv would always say, try to eliminate the peaks and valleys, right? You want to have consistency rather than the up and down and
big
up
waves
and down.
crash.
Yeah, and
a Pepperdine wave.
It's so fun. He prepared us like no other when we won the national championship back in '92. And that's why I went there. I think it's very important that you pick your college coaches very, meticulously and look at the details. He was coming back from winning the 1988 gold medal as the head coach of the indoor national team. And so I was like, what better coach to be under than one winning a gold medal for the United States? And he gave me the blueprint, and I was able to do it 8 years later after we won a national championship in '92, winning the gold in 2000. And I've been using a lot of his knowledge and a lot of his techniques throughout my whole life. So he's very important to me, very important to a lot of people, and he's touched a lot of people, and taught me a lot. And the cool thing, he's always there when you need him. You pick up the phone, he's going to answer the phone, and he's a great support system.
The coaches that played for Dunphy that are now coaching, I'm there, and I feel like Dunphy's there in spirit. Right, I was with John Mayer for a year and a half, almost 2 years, and a lot of things that I heard from Dunphy, because Sorensen was on the podcast too, Tom, and Tom had a lot of nice things, and you guys are almost echoing the exact same sentiments. And when I see you coaching, and when I see John coaching, and I see who's the guy on the indoor team that played with John? It was John's roommate. He's on the indoor team, and he won.
Keenan.
Not Keenan, but I'll tell you in a minute. But in any sense, there is something about, I call it Pepperdine the cool kid school, because everyone I met there was cool as hell. I met Bob Stavertleague. Yeah. I met Jeff Stork, like you remember the conversation we had before the podcast. Yeah. The guy who I was mimicking. Yeah. Got you, right? Got Cheng, got Mayer, got God knows who else. It's the cool kid school, and the way you guys carry yourself, and a lot of the way you guys coach. I wanted to ask this question. I feel like Dunphy's there in spirit when I see the way you talk to some of your kids and the way you're even talking to me right now. Yeah. I feel like Dunphy's there in spirit. So he was more than just a coach. Yeah, and that meant
and he models everything he's about. He's not telling you one thing, doing another. He's very, like I said, consistent. And when you have consistency from your coach, the communication channels are going to be open. The effectiveness of what they say is going to be there, because you get that respect that, like you said earlier, it doesn't matter if Marv's talking to the most important person in the world or a freshman who just showed up in school for the first time. He's going to give him the same type of respect.
Ladies and gentlemen, the word of the day of this podcast is mensch. Dane's going to look that up when he leaves.
Well, I knew what it was, but not as clear as you as you defined it.
I'm a lot of my friends refer to me as the same thing. They're like, this guy can't be doing all of that out of the goodness of his heart, and I'm like, well, I am. That's how my dad raised me. It's, and my real father I never met. So, and they have a saying: if you don't have a father around, you're gonna look for one. And being on Flatbush Avenue and finding the right father figure was important. Yeah. My stepfather was an iron worker, so learned a lot of discipline. My first job was iron work at 14 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, man. And here we are on the other side, two sides of the country, sitting here like a couple of, mentions. Dain, anyone want to know more about what you've been up to? Did they just go on the Trojans website, or do you have an IG or whatever?
Yeah, Instagram is Dain Blanton. It's very simple and forward. And then a lot of information is under beach volleyball at the USC Trojan site. And we're gonna have a great summer. Hopefully, get some downtime and time to celebrate. But things have been going pretty fast. But really appreciate you having me on, and hopefully we can do it again.
Hey, and also if you know any assisting jobs open, I'm actually done with the club, and I'm after this documentary, I'm thinking of trying to get back into as an assistant, and just maybe help out maybe a smaller beach program or whatever, like Concordia or whatever. So anybody out there, I'm single and available, and I come with good references. All right, so. The things we're going to keep in this episode. All right, guys. So Dain might love you guys, but I don't love any of you guys. In fact, we're out of here. In fact, this guy's got somewhere to go. In fact, this room is boiling. So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPads, for all of you on your desktop, who runs the world? Old school people. Old school. For Dain Blanton. For Miranda Gagne. I'm Jason DeBiss. This is episode 205 of the Option Podcast. Hit my music. We're out of here. Come check out the Option Podcast on optionvb.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.